Officer who shot and killed a woman inside her own home resigns just before he was about to be fired. All of this as the family of Atatiana Jefferson calls for his arrest.
And I assure you, as chief of this department, I share those concerns and I demand a thorough, transparent, and speedy investigation.
On behalf of the entire city of Fort Worth, I'm sorry.
We can tell you criminal charges are expected next against now former officer Aaron Dean. We have team coverage at 6 o'clock as we get underway. Jason Allen and Steve Pickett. Jason, I'd like to start with you at 6 over at Fort Worth Police Headquarters tonight.
Yeah, Doug, and new in the last hour, police have now released the recordings of some of the transmissions that went out over the radio in that early morning call. People have really been trying to understand why the officers acted the way they did, why they didn't park their cars right in front of the house, why they didn't go and knock on the door and identify themselves right away. And so here, I want you to listen to, here's how the call to check on the home where Atatiana Jefferson was that night. This is how it went out to officers when they heard it that morning over the radio.
Baker 325, copy the 56-1203 East Allen. Complainant advised the front doors to this address is open. Both of neighbors' vehicles are in the driveway, white sedan and dark colored sedan.
So that is the information that the two officers had. It was listed as an open structure on the call log, and the two officers were there within 4 minutes. And that is when they started walking around the house, where Jefferson was inside watching her 8-year-old nephew. And here is what came across the radio just a minute later after Aaron Dean fired the shot through the window that killed the 28-year-old.
Pull out here, shots fired.
Baker 325, shots fired, shots fired. Start supervisor. Code.
325 shot, 325 shot. Access 325, your ranger. No, 325 fired his weapon.
Aaron Dean was commissioned as an officer for Fort Worth just 18 months ago, and before this there was only a car accident on his record, at least according to police. But the police chief said that he had planned to fire him this morning for violating policies on the use of deadly force, failure to de-escalate, and also unprofessional conduct. And the chief said that he could not make sense of why Jefferson had to lose her life.
We've received many calls from the community expressing their concerns and demands. And I assure you, as chief of this department, I share those concerns and I demand a thorough, transparent, and speedy investigation. This will not be an opportunity for us to make excuses, but rather to investigate this case to the fullest, to provide the justice we all seek for Atatiana.
The Texas Rangers have declined to get involved in the investigation to this point, but police have presented a preliminary case to the FBI in case there are any civil rights violations here to look at. And Krause said he will have an update on the criminal investigation by tomorrow. Live in Fort Worth tonight, Jason Allen, CBS 11 News.
Okay, we'll look forward to the update tomorrow. Jason, thank you. And Atatiana Jefferson's 3 siblings tonight are calling their sister's death a reckless act. Aaron Dean, the officer who Jason just talked about, who shot and killed the 28-year-old, did resign, but Fort Worth's chief did have plans to fire him, as we mentioned. Jefferson's family tonight demanding that he be arrested and demanding he be charged. They want this investigation also handed to an outside agency. They say that the morning Jefferson was killed in her own home, she was simply playing video games with her nephew. He told his family, in fact, after they heard a noise at the window, that Jefferson had told him to stay back, and that's when shots were fired.
When you don't do it the way you've been trained, the way you've been taught, you have to answer for that.
She was simply going on along with her life, living a law-abiding citizen's peaceful life, and she was killed by a reckless act of a Fort Worth police officer.
Miss Jefferson was a Xavier grad. She was working in pharmaceutical sales at the time to save up for medical school, we're told. Fort Worth police have released a portion of the officer's body cam video. The family, though, wants to see the entire video. They have particular interest in knowing how the officer responded after Jefferson was shot. And Fort Worth Mayor Betsy Price says that there is nothing to justify or explain what happened to Atatiana Jefferson.
Justice is critical here. We know we cannot bring back this young woman who was taken all too soon. But this is a pivotal moment for a city that will and can come together.
In this press conference earlier today, Mayor Price also reached out to James Smith. He is the neighbor who actually called police, simply concerned about an open door at the Jefferson home in the minutes before that deadly shooting happened. The mayor called Mr. Smith a wonderful neighbor, saying that no matter what grief he may have, he did the right thing to make sure that the Jefferson family was okay.
The Fort Worth Police Department would again like to express our deepest condolences to Miss Jefferson's family. We understand that this is a tough and tragic event, not only for her family, but for the community. We value the trust that we've had with our community. We will continue to build that trust, and we will continue to be as transparent as possible in all police matters. Concerning the status of the criminal investigation, at approximately 6 p.m., Aaron Dean was arrested for the murder of Miss Jefferson. He has since been booked into the Tarrant County Jail. Our department has been working closely with the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office. Our major case unit and internal affairs units are continuing to work diligently to complete the criminal and administrative investigations into this matter. To the citizens and residents of our city, we feel and understand your anger and your disappointment. And we stand by you as we work together to make Fort Worth a better place for us all. Chief Ed Krause will hold an additional press conference tomorrow at a time yet to be determined, and this is to provide an additional update. We will wait to answer any questions until that time, as the criminal and administrative investigations are still ongoing. We wanted to ensure that we were able to push this information out as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, some of it was leaked prior to our opportunity to do so. We will release the time and the location of the press conference on our Twitter page at Fort Worth PD for updates. Thank you.
I was in shock and immediately saddened because officers don't come into this business to shoot an innocent person.
Former Cockrell Hill Police Chief Catherine Smith Torres calls it unthinkable again. And the body cam video of Fort Worth police officer Aaron Dean's actions, even prior to firing his gun, she says, raised concerns.
The training at the onset of the call is where we have questions, and that their internal affairs investigators will be exploring.
Why didn't the Fort Worth officers announce their presence outside Atatiana Jefferson's home? Why did this Arlington police officer hop onto the side of an SUV and shoot the driver? Why did this Farmers Branch officer in June decide to shoot an auto theft suspect speeding past him? Those recorded acts of police using deadly force are now deemed evidence in criminal cases against those officers.
Almost every day, 2 or 3 people are killed by the police in America. I am surprised at how egregious this one is.
John Fullenweider co-leads Mothers Against Police Brutality in Dallas. He points to the police shooting of Jefferson and the conviction of former Dallas cop Amber Geiger as examples of police using deadly force when both had no reason to use that force.
We need a national standard on the use of deadly force, and we also need national attention to the problem.